Okay, here we are, you guys, back again. Let's take a look at what's going on here. So I know if you guys started watching the earlier video when I pull off the rear wheel, found a broken spring inside. Turns out the brake pad replacements that I got do have springs in them, and they don't look anything like the springs I have here. I found another spring in the parts that I got. Thought might have been close, but it wasn't. Not sure what that one's for. It could be any of a number of things, but in any case, we'll just move forward with getting this brake drum torn apart. Basically all it is, you know, the brake lever, it's got a bushing in here. The actual bearings for the rear wheel are in the hub itself. All we need to do basically is take this apart, clean it up, polish it up, paint it up, whatever we decide to do. Need to talk to the owner about it. This looks pretty dirty here. I don't know how well you can see that in the picture, but you know, it's been sitting for years, and I think they clear coated these hubs on these bikes because they've yellowed, and this one looks like it had yellowed at one point and they tried to clean it up. Not really sure, but anyway, it is in need of a little help. So we'll get and pull it apart. Not much to do on this one, really. All we need to do is just straighten out these cotter pins and get them to where I could work on them, and maybe you guys can see it. But straighten out the cotter pins, pull them out. And just use this. Just trying to get it to where I can get a hold of it with the pliers, but that has a little, what looks like a figure 8 on the brake drums here to as a washer to hold the brake drums in place, you know, as a keeper. So get this cotter pin out. There we go, that's one. And we'll work on getting the second one out here. Straighten them up. Anytime you guys take apart parts with cotter pins, the good idea is to replace them. I know you can't always do that. You're out on the road, something breaks, you have to take something apart, it has a cotter pin. You know, you reuse it, but the best thing to do is replace them because they do fatigue from bending. So I noticed there's a few jerry-rigged cotter pin replacements on this bike, or no cotter pin at all. Cotter pin, whatever it is. Anyway, so that takes off the two cotter pins in this washer. Basically after that, the brake drum should pretty much come right off. Have to get them around this cam. You got to lift them off of these stanchions here. I just have some padding to not mark the pad or the hubs up any more than they are while working on them. I'm definitely not worried about that rim because in my opinion it should be replaced. It's got rust around the inside of the rim. But I think the person that is buying this bike wants to kind of do it on a budget. It's actually a pretty good budget for what they're going to do, but not enough to do 100% factory concourse restoration on the bike. You know, a little bit of WD-40 might have worked better on that. Let me grab that. Just so I'm not fighting it so much getting it off here. There we go. Should be able to get this spring here out of the way. That gets that out of the way. That was just the one I tried. I don't think either one of these springs were what belonged on this brake drum assembly. I'm not sure where they got this one. This one looks way too light and like it belonged on something else. I'm not sure what this spring would have come from. But anyway, see some grime in there keeping it from coming up. But like I said, this is a pretty weird looking spring here. Got a little hook on the back of it here. Sorry, I guess you guys couldn't really see that, could you? It's got a little hook on the back. It's way too light for brakes. So anyway, good thing we're replacing it. Probably the only thing that would really happen is the brakes would have dragged a little on the inner hub. You know, they definitely got some grazing on them. They're not real even. I'm pretty sure it got chewed up a little bit. Yeah, there's some cracking there. I'm sure that's where the spring got into the brake pad itself. Kind of chewed things up in here. So yeah, pretty poor. Good thing we're replacing them. Yeah, there's some grooving in here. I haven't really looked at the hub yet on the rim. Maybe that we need to replace that, but I'll take a look at it, see if it cleans up, mic it out, make sure it's all to spec. If it's not to spec, we'll have to source something from somewhere. But otherwise, we'll clean it up and resurface it and make it good. And for the purposes of cleaning up this hub here, the brake hub, I am going to pull off the brake lever. Kind of a good idea to know where it is, you know, where things hook up. Should be in that position there. Lines up with the sprocket. Just kind of making some mental notes about it. You know, if you're taking it apart and putting it back together in the same day, you won't forget. But if for some reason I don't put it back together today, then I'll be able to remember maybe a little better. Of course, I could always refer to the video. And all this stuff should be polished up anyway. So, cleaned up, refurbed, replaced if necessary. You typically have to pull these bolts all the way out. You just can't loosen them up because sometimes they have a groove in there that the bolt basically seats into. So not only does it clamp, but it also has kind of a retainer if it loosens up, that it won't completely fall out. Because it'd be like this, but you know, maybe the bolt would loosen up some, but the arm might come off. So that's basically that. And I'm gonna have to help that along a little bit, getting it out. First of all, I think I'll just give it a little squirt of WD-40, and then get a screwdriver to put in there to help open it up a little bit so it can come off. And here we go. Yeah, so it's basically starting to come out right now. There it goes. So anyway, there's the brake lever. Dirty, but not in bad shape. It looks pretty clean, not real rusty. I think if anything, just a little buffing wheel will clean this very nicely. And I don't think we'll have to replace it. You know, a little bit on the back side where nobody was able to wash it or see it. But overall, not a bad looking part, I think. So, yeah, let's wipe it down here and see what we got. Maybe it's just a WD-40 that cleaned it up. Yeah, a little bit of rust right there. Nothing too bad. I don't think it's factory showroom condition by any stretch, but you know, there's not a lot of pitting or anything here. Like I said, a little bit on the back side of the bracket here, but you know, the cable retainer, but other than that, not too bad. So there's that. There's the broken spring. If you didn't see it before, it definitely got chewed up in the brake pads there and got lodged in between the brake pad and the hub. Fortunately, it didn't lock up the bike. I at least hope it didn't lock up the bike. I don't really know. I don't know the history of this bike. All I know is what I've dealt with for the last about a month that I've had it. Haven't done a lot with it in the last month or so, but you know, we've been formulating a plan, figuring out what we're going to do with it, how he's going to use it, how much he wants to fix it up. So anyway, pull that out. It's got a little seal on it as well. But basically what we'll do is, that seal goes right there. But basically what we'll do is we'll polish this up so it moves smoothly and lube it up, grease it up really good, so it's not dry when it goes back in. So everything's free and easy when you ride it. You don't want to wear it out because these bushings will wear out. If you let them stay dirty in there, they'll prematurely wear out. You can get a lot of life out of these bushings if you clean them up once in a while and grease them and make sure there's not a lot of dirt or grit in there to sand down the surfaces. Still don't look too bad though. I don't think the bike had a lot of miles on it. Yeah, there's a little wear on this one side here. I might make note of that when I put it back together, that I see where the wear pattern is and kind of reverse it. It's probably on a lower portion of it where most of the pressure is at, so if I reverse it, it'd probably be okay. But I'll check it out. If it looks like it's too out of spec, I'll mic it. If it looks like it's too out of spec, then I'll see about getting a replacement for that too. How much wear do these things normally get? I don't think anybody ever really replaces them anyway, but you just keep them lubed, and unless they start jamming up or something, you keep running them. So there you go. Alrighty, that's it for that. And I'm going to just do some cleanup work on all the parts, wash it all up, maybe do some polishing. Don't think you'll want to see all that. It's just tedious work. But other than that, we'll bring it back for the next maybe interesting thing. Who knows? Okay, thanks guys. Bye.